Those were live.
It's probably a little quieter, maybe, or I don't know.
You sound like a dispatcher.
Roger. Maybe I should throw my other one up.
Ugh.
Is it bad enough where I should switch over?
It's not bad, but the other one was higher quality. I don't know if the other one was. Yeah, you had a microphone set, right?
I've been using this headset, but I have this like Blue Yeti mic that I usually use,
Okay.
so that should be considerably higher quality. But I wonder
Yeah.
how easy it is to switch
I
now.
mean, like, it's not bad, but you definitely notice the difference in like fidelity, for lack of a better term.
All right, can you hear me now?
I mean, I hear you.
Is it better?
No, it sounds the same, honestly.
What the hell?
Does it have a different heading for the brand of the mark when you?
Yeah, it's. Oh wait, there's two of them. Oh, that one.
I don't know. Maybe,
it's your headphones. I don't know. No.
Yeah, maybe it's me.
Or maybe I switch this to a different mode. Maybe I turn the gain down or something. I don't know.
That sounds better. Anyway.
Okay. How's it going?
It's going. I've been up since like 5:30 this morning, going in on the code. What's your philosophy on development dashboards?
Like like stories done, or are you talking like development?
Like testing and debugging, and having some type of dashboard to let you know the state of integration points or the integration feeds.
Like a health check setup or something?
I mean, I purposely left that question abstract to figure out like what conjured up in your head, but specifically, like for example, if you're building some client application, you may have SQL Server Management Studio running, and you execute some command, and then you toggle over to Management Studio, and you verify. You have some like script that you hit F5 on to execute, and you verify that the state has changed, for a customer or for whatever state of some order fulfillment. In my case, I have an event store, right? Yeah. But that event store requires me to implement my own user interfaces in order to get information from it. And yeah, that might be fine if I'm running a mobile app as an admin, so I can periodically check on the state of whatever services or the business activities. But in development mode, where I'm just trying to get things done, and I'm too stupid to just write automated tests all over the place, I'll end up having some redundancy. In this case, I have an event store that should be the source of truth regarding the state of operations, or regarding the state that operations have resulted in. But now I'm like, within Azure storage tables, I'm creating additional tables so I could quickly toggle back and forth as I'm testing the integration of a customer submitting a request to a courier being dispatched, and then the courier relaying state of that particular order fulfillment. And so I'm duplicating effort at the expense of being quickly able to decipher the state of my debugging. I know that was very convoluted, but you kind of understand what I'm saying.
So you're building out tooling for yourself to
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, in which case then my philosophy is whatever works, man.
Yeah.
Actually, I mean, if you think about a lot of tools that people have built over years become products, and those are the things that actually take off. Um, so, I mean, if you find an itch you need to scratch because there's nothing doing it, but you're using something that a lot of people use, they're probably having the same itch, and
Well,
you
I
can
mean,
connect them. So,
it's not really I'm building like a customer facing tool.
yeah,
It's more of like I'm using like something comparable to SQL Management Studio. In this case, it's Azure Tables Explorer,
yep,
just so that I could quickly toggle back and forth to figure out if things are working properly. But I have an event store that logs everything. But in order for me to like get information out of it, I mean that's going to require me to write my own user interface just to get information when I could just use a third party tool that's just very developer centric to do it for me. So I was considering that as I was like writing all this additional infrastructure for the sake of me being able to look at these Explorer tools to look at my data. And I wasn't sure if other people struggled with the same opportunity costs of, okay, do you duplicate information? Because that's essentially what I'm doing. I'm duplicating information
hmm.
at the expense of being able to iterate faster.
I think that's perfectly good. I don't see why it would be. Whatever helps you go quicker, whether it's building tools or aggregating data differently or whatever. Um, man, I don't think there's any really wrong way to do it, unless you're costing yourself a lot of money doing it. Then there's a trade off. But if it's not expensive, then whatever. So
I think I'm going to pivot again. So, like, get this speech delivery thing running and working and solid. And like in regards to like foresight, think over time more and more things are going to get automated and more people are going to struggle to stay relevant in this it, I would say gig economy 2.0 probably in another 3 years. I think I think once I get this back end solidified, I think I'm going to attempt to build the the WordPress for mobile applications, meaning that users will through a website um, arrange their order fulfillment application, whether it's mobile car washes, I don't know, traveling to a person's residence to cut their hair or to whatever it is. Uh, Create a mobile template application for them to set up their business and then connect it to a back end and have a subscription model. It's going to be hard as hell, but
yeah, you'd have to deal with multi-tenancy then if you're
well, I was going to
providing
deal
the
with that
backend.
anyway. I was going to deal
Yeah,
with that anyway because I wanted to get the back end into a state where I could have multiple businesses, aka uh, order fulfillment types running, and so I mean that's going to be done, and yeah, it's going to be a lot more infrastructure. So like because it's cloud computing, there's going to be some type of like rate limits per unit of time, as well as security programs running to monitor for anything that is suspicious.
Yeah, gotta worry about the meth delivery apps too. We'll make.
No. Why would I worry about that?
Because you don't want to have to deal with government closing you down or subpoenaing you or cease and desisting or whatever.
Not
if
if
some drug ring starts using your app.
no, they could use the app. The government makes money off of people breaking the law. I think there's a famous phrase: "Make a law, make money." Right. So as long as I provide a backdoor for the DEA or any other federal agency to observe, hell, I'll build tools for them and then I'll sell it to them. I make money off the Fed too. Like, why not? So build tools for them so that they could catch drug dealers and prostitutes. I'll profit from that too. Scott Nimrod. So
nice.
No, seriously, I'm not worried about like illegal stuff going on, especially if I'm giving all that information to the Fed.
Mm-hmm.
I see it as a win-win situation. They what was it? That one dude got 30 years for what's it called? Silk Road? What was that? That one website where people can like post contracts on other people's lives and sell drugs.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
No, but I can imagine it now that when you said that.
I thought it was called Silk Road. Let me see. He had got that's not it. Dark Web Silk Road. Silk Road. Oh, okay. Yeah, Silk Road. Yeah, he had got 30 years. I don't want to follow in his footsteps. But like as long as I'm like transparent and I'm like force feeding the city, state, and Fed information, then like what else do you want me to do? Especially
then the privacy nuts get after you and shut you down from the other end.
Especially if I'm assisting you. So yeah, man.
Yeah, you mean you're gonna be part of the nanny state, man? Hell if I'm gonna use your shit. Just kidding. Yeah, that's the double edge. Is like if you need to legitimately help the government because there's stuff that you want, whatever, then people privacy stuff comes in and
yeah. But the thing is, it's a small percentage of people that are going to go out their way to sell drugs, right?
Yeah.
And plus, every company helps the government for the most part. So when you think about the IRS, they supply the IRS information. The banks do, businesses do that have full-time employees. Like you tell the IRS exactly how much money you paid somebody, so that and then IRS gives someone an opportunity for them to be truthful on what they made, even though they know how much they made. And then they go ahead and make their money off of penalties, fines, and all the other stuff.
Yeah, yeah, never thought of it that way. Scott told us you got paid this amount. What are you going to tell us? Yeah.
I wish Black people had the same sovereignty as Native Americans. We should, man. I'm gonna start a Twitter hashtag. I'm envious of Native American. I mean, yeah, they're almost extinct, but still, man, they were wiped out.
They're not almost extinct.
They are almost extinct.
From Minnesota, we've got I've got a reservation to the south, a reservation to the north, a reservation to the west. There's reservations all over the place up here. So
okay, and you live in the middle of nowhere.
They're not extinct. They're just out of sight from major metropolitan areas, and the East Coast. They're not many there because they got totally almost eradicated back in the day. So, but if you move out into the Midwest or West, there's still a lot of Indian tribes around.
I'm in the Midwest,
and they
There's
have
no
they
Indian
have
tribes. Not on the border of not on the eastern border of the Midwest. Like I'm in Florida. Florida has Seminoles. They run casinos down here.
Like, Indians run casinos up here too.
Like black people should be running casinos. I want some of that too. This country benefited off of my ancestors. So
move to Vegas. There you can run a casino. Or was it Reno or Atlantic City still have casinos?
What's that?
Does Atlantic City still have casinos? I don't really know.
I think so.
Niagara, big casino things. Then you got to be part of the. Then you got to be part of like the mafia or the mob to own a casino. At least you used to. Not anymore though. Probably. I don't really know who owns casinos now. Probably some multi-conglomerate people.
I'm just saying that in regards to reparations, because this country benefited off the backs of my ancestors, I want a casino. Or give me something that is already proven to make money and just give it to me. I want it for free. I want a handout.
But then you got to be put on. But then you got to be put on the reservation.
Oh, you mean the projects?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought that was funny.
I don't know. Some of the reservations around here do pretty well as far as what they take in with casinos and stuff like that. One of the ones north of, kind of in northern Minnesota, it's almost like going to a third world country when you run through the reservation. Though they just have, because they're sovereign nation and everything, so they've got different rules that they follow and all that, and they don't have as much income in through the casinos, so their quality of life is a lot poorer. There's a lot of drugs and meth and stuff like that kind of funnel through there too, which is unfortunate. But
it's the same thing in projects. It's the same thing anywhere in low income.
Yeah. Right. I mean, it's so much tied to economic opportunity overall. You take, it doesn't matter. I don't think your race. You take economic opportunity out of the area, and people just, find other ways to keep busy.
Yeah.
But
so like,
go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just saying I've been spending the last 3 weeks trying to integrate external services with this customer app so that it can receive notifications about courier dispatch and courier updates, and then update the UX accordingly for the customer app. I hope to be able to demo something hopefully by next Friday. I'm always making progress, but I mean, this stuff takes a while. What's up?
Yeah, you're in the doldrums where it's not, you're making progress, but it's not on anything you can see or get excited about.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I have hella infrastructure. If I ever get hired to build some type of order fulfillment pipeline or e-commerce, I'm set. Like, I'm just take my code, stamp it, update the namespaces, push. That's it.
So is F# still made you unemployable?
Yep.
I don't know. I'm thinking about like this summer or maybe sooner. I don't know. Making a career move. But I really don't want to just jump into another duplicate of what I'm doing now. I want to find something completely different.
Be a bounty hunter.
Yeah.
I got hooked watching I think it's called Tank Bounty, and this is like self-produced YouTube videos of this bodybuilder in Cleveland kicking in people's doors because they skip bail or skip court. So
yeah, I do that and get shot my first week. You'd never hear from me again.
Well, I mean, he has a team with him.
Yeah.
So he has like 2, 3 people to cover the escape routes, and then he announces himself. I think he says like court services or whatever, and then
So
he gives them time to unlock the door, and if they don't, he just kicks it in, and that's
you
his
sh-
whole. That's what he's known for. He prides himself on kicking in people's doors. He tells like little old ladies like, if your son doesn't come out in 10 seconds, I'm kicking in this door. And it's like a sweet old, like 70-year-old lady. It's like, I'm honest. I don't know where he's at. 9, 8. I'm telling you the truth. 7, 6. And he just kicks it in. And they got to buy $1,000 door.
Jeez. No, see, you should do that. And then what I'll do is I'm gonna be the nerd that sits back in the white van, and I've got drones going overhead, like in the command center, running the comms. Looking up Google searches when you guys are like, Google this for me.
It'd be like a hood version of Mission Impossible.
Yeah, I'll bring up Google Maps and be like, all right, with my drone, be like, turn left, turn right. He's going into this.
You should be a bounty hunter on an Indian reservation. You just go to Indian reservations, kicking in people's tents or whatever.
No, man, that's a sovereign nation. You can't do that. They have their own tribal police and everything.
If you work for the Fed, you do whatever you want.
Oh well, yeah, maybe the Fed, not local or state police or anything like that.
I think the state probably still can.
I don't know. You don't even like. I think they're not even really required to have insurance on their cars in the reservation, so you kind of take a little bit of risk driving through there.
How many poor people actually have insurance on their cars? And I'm not disrespecting
you have to. Like now in Minnesota too, you have to provide it just to get your tabs.
So, okay, and how many people drive cars with suspended licenses or with no license at all?
Yeah, there's that. There's criminality, but I mean, I don't think it's criminal for them to drive without insurance, because it's a sovereign nation. They can do whatever they want, really. Actually, I wonder what maybe there's treaties that they follow. I wonder if an Indian reservation tried to legalize pot, what would happen? Because like in Minnesota, for instance, you cannot smoke in any indoor establishment at all. That does not apply at all to casinos at all.
I mean, if it's privately owned, you can do whatever you want.
No, you can't. Not in any commercial enterprise. So like if you own a bar, you can't have smoking in it. Even if you wanted to have a separate side room in your bar that has smoke because it's indoors, no, you can't have that. It has to be outside. Like there's absolutely no smoking allowed indoors.
I was at a bar last night where people blaze up marijuana.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a relationship with the city that cops just don't come in.
Well, yeah, there you go.
And it's not like people going ape, throwing chairs and like shell casings all over the place. Like they're smoking weed and they're chilling.
Anyways,
that's the part I don't understand. Like you observe the side effects. Obviously, marijuana doesn't have people going crazy, becoming violent savages, emptying clips on other people. But people's ignorance is it's a drug. Well, why is it a drug? Or why is it a drug that people should abstain from? Period. Why is it illegal? They won't answer it. They'll just use hearsay. I'm about to go on a rant right now. You ready? So, my late mentor's widow, she's mad at me right now. I don't think people over the age of one is I think there should be a max age for presidential candidates. You shouldn't be over 50. Period. If you're not going to be around, if you can't live by yourself independently, meaning without assistance 20 years from now, then you shouldn't be making decisions.
Dude, I know there's people that are 70, 80 years old that are in better condition and more able to do stuff than people I know in their 30s.
Okay, and what percentage is that?
It doesn't matter. It
does matter.
Individual, like you can't just categorize people based on age.
Oh, we can.
Well, you could say no. You could say you have to do a physical. You have to do some sort of physical thing, and people do have the option to take that into account when they vote. People were trying to say McCain, for instance, couldn't be president because he could get cancer at any moment and die. He was too old.
I hear what you're saying. If you could just understand my rationale, right? So when you have people that, again, are owed, people that have a very high probability of not being, of either being dead or not being able to take care of themselves independently without any type of help, then they shouldn't be making decisions that uh, the next generation will have to endure the consequences of. So let's take Trump, for example, right? When you consistently roll back um, certain, for lack of a better term, programs that are meant to ease the stress of pollutants and other things on the earth for short-term political gain and economic gain, that's fine for people that are here today that aren't going to be here 20 years from now. But that's absolutely horrible for your children. It is, right? But these people are making decisions that they don't care about 20 years from now.
Yeah, but he has a huge he has a huge constituency that doesn't actually care about that either. There's certain limitations to that I would care about, but I don't care that he's rolled back a lot of regulations. A lot of regulations are dumb.
Okay, so
they're laws that they're not laws, but they're laws. It's like you have to follow these because some guy some guy making a decision that might be 40, 50 in a box said, oh, this should be not like this, or this is, whatever.
Okay. But the thing is there's people that make decisions that have no background in the decisions that they're making. And there's people that are making decisions and submitting them that have 20, 30, 40 years of experience in that particular field. And that's my issue.
Yeah, well, experience or academic experience, which isn't experience at all. Academic is dumb. They don't have any real practical experience. Most academics, they're making it totally out of theoretical, and you have to live with the consequences of their theoretical models that don't actually, jive with real life.
So you don't believe that global warming? I'm saying global warming. I don't know why those idiots say climate change. It's global warming. It was global warming when I was a kid. I'm going to still say global warming.
Well, it's because it was because there's a period where it stopped warming, so they had to give it a different name. Sure, climate change is real. Yeah, I don't deny that climate's changing. I think so what? So what if the climate's changing? What does that mean for us? Does that mean people have to move from New York to Minnesota? Big frickin' whoop! I don't care.
Okay.
But the other end of that is that I don't think emissions are necessarily always the way to answer these things. What I like is initiatives where people are planting trees proactively. Which, if you look at some of the models, they talk about the best chances to actually just promote people planting things and having vegetation and stop deforestation initiatives. So the more people who live in big ass cities, focus on actually having trees in the corner and putting trees in their on the top of the buildings and putting trees outside of things and having more plant life. That I can get behind. I can't get behind people being like, you're not going to be able to drive your fucking truck in the middle of winter in Minnesota because it emits a little bit too much carbon for our liking. That's just BS.
It's not BS. It's going to force innovation, or at least encourage it.
Well, it forces it, but for the wrong reasons. There could be other reasons you could innovate. It's more cost effective to have cheaper or higher miles per gallon and stuff like that. The thing is, like I said, if you plant more trees, you get more vegetation out there. There's a lot that can do for it. The situation. But better than what we can do to try to control just one nation out of many who are contributing to the problem.
Yeah, but if we're a nation that's leading, and supposedly we're supposed to be the model of society, which we're doing a poor job of, I don't think asking people to voluntarily plant a tree is going to solve our our pollution problems.
It is. People are starting to wake up to that, though. There's a lot of initiatives now going on where private people are planting trees and or buying large plots of trees to be saved from removal and stuff like that. And the thing is there could also be better innovation on architectural stuff that includes trees and vegetation in the designs and stuff, and that's a whole area of business that people can get into in terms of having vegetation involved in buildings and stuff like that. The thing is like, I don't like. The thing is people say the world, the climate's going to change and it's going to be in I don't know, in how the New York's going to flood. I don't care about New York. I don't live in New York.
You don't care about New York.
Yeah,
that's my point.
Yeah, I don't care because the thing is people could just move.
No.
That stuff can happen anyways.
People that have money can move. You're not taking into consideration planet Earth and that there's hella islands that are distributed amongst the planet through the ocean, whatever, and that those oceans are going, or those islands are going to be swallowed up. These people are poor. They have absolutely nothing. Who are you to say that they're the indigenous people on that remote part of the earth? They don't matter. And that's my issue. It's like to appease, and I had the same argument with my late mentor's widow. To appease your comfort because you want to ride your truck in 20-degree weather, or in her case, she likes, I don't know, whatever conveniences that she has. Well, that's fine. That's typical American thinking. But I mean, if we are a human race and we do have compassion for others, we need to realize how privileged we are and how our whatever conveniences that we have, for lack of a better term, there's a cost, and there's other people that are suffering because of our lifestyle. And I think we forget that. And I think most of us don't even care. And I just think that's sad.
So, yeah, well, there's a lot of people suffering for stuff that we have absolutely no control over at all anyways.
Okay.
The thing is, the thing is like I said, I hate the focus is on the problem. And then the focus is put on things that produce economic burden instead of the focus being put on something that could actually help solve the problem. Like I said, mass tree planting and stuff like that, which we do have a little bit more control over, and it's cheap as hell to do.
If we had control over that, then the Amazon rainforest wouldn't be probably a quarter of what it was 20 years ago. You can't trust human beings to do the right thing. Yeah, that's why we have government.
And the government and our government can do jack crap about what a government does in another area.
They could if they wanted to.
So let's just say this. Let's just hypothetically, let's say we were woke and green and we're going to put all of our resources into that, but every other country doesn't give a shit.
Okay.
Then we're still screwed anyways. So the thing is that, like I said, I think if we could just focus on more kind of proactive solutions instead of regressive solutions, like being like, well, you can't do this because it's going to increase carbon emissions or whatever. Well, shit, just offset carbon emissions and then call it a day.
You're using the excuse of short-term economic gain or sustainment for continuing our behavior of destroying the earth. That's exactly what you're saying.
Destroying the earth. No, the earth is fine. The earth isn't.
If the earth is fine, then how many animals have gone extinct just within the past 50 years?
Well, yeah, but that's a qualitative. You're putting value on those animals.
I am, because they're important. Because animals and plants, over time, as we continue to mature our understanding of science, we end up finding out creating certain vaccines and understanding certain medical treatments based on animals and plants. And if we're destroying it, I mean, that's just one example. The other example, again, is, well, what about the children? just as we have the convenience of going to the zoo or watching Animal Planet, they should too. But we think about me, 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 me in our miserable existence, and we don't care about other people at all. And I'm a jerk. I am. People know I'm a jerk. But I also realize that there's other people that deserve to have the same, for lack of a better term, experiences in other countries that are dead poor that I have. And for me to want to continue leaving my television on 24 hours a day and have air conditioning in my car, yeah, all that stuff is fine, but there's alternatives to sustain that. And that's my argument. Like, we think about us and we're not thinking about what we're destroying. And that's my issue.
Yeah. But I mean, you have to have some sort of care for that type of thing. And in your own words, our own insignificance, maybe there's no point in caring about anyone but yourself during this period of time in your short life.
Okay. I'm ending this section of the conversation. I feel like it hit you all of a sudden.
You're just going great. No, the thing is, like I said, I get excited about people that take a different approach to these kinds of problems, and then also the ones where it's like this stuff is going bad, but who cares, kind of a deal, or is it really that big of a problem, or will people just rise up to solve the problem if it should arise? Actually, really, I don't think the government's the best way to solve issues. Maybe I think private citizens and companies and corporations and things will step up if and when these things become a problem.
We don't want it to become a problem. That's the disconnect that we have. You're saying wait till it's a red alert, and then us being genius human beings will solve it with our capes. And I'm
no. I just the thing is that the models and the all of this stuff around it, you can't really predict it very well. There was predictions that by 2012, the entire Earth is just every ice cap is going to be melted, and we're going to be flooded everywhere, and the Earth's going to be inhabitable. And so created this gigantuan rush to try to solve, urge, like, oh, this is the science, it's going to happen. Sorry, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. We have to do. That didn't happen. There was no urgency to it.
Is it worse today than it was in 2012?
Is the situation worse?
Yes.
I don't know. I don't care.
I'm telling. Well, I do care. It is worse. All you have to do is come to Miami Beach, and you'll see the consequences of it. Where now they're rebuilding the beaches. They're now planning to raise the roads. The stuff is real. Where you live at, you don't see it. It's out of sight, out of mind.
So they're solving the problem that they're having. They're raising the road.
They're not solving the problem. They're adapting to it.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a difference between solving and adaptation.
Well, I live in an area of the country where 3-4 months out of the year, this is an inhabitable place for humans, like without some sort of adaptation that we have, right? And we've adapted to that. The thing is everybody can adapt to it. Just because the old ways of living don't work anymore doesn't make that a bad thing. You can just adapt to the new way. People develop air conditioning if it gets too hot. People develop heating if it gets too cold. People wear different clothes. People develop different materials that hold in body heat better or don't.
You're right. Pretty soon we'll all just wear astronaut suits walking around the planet. Not orbiting the planet. We'll wear astronaut suits walking on the ground, right? Because in your words, we just adapt to it, right? So what if we're destroying everything? Who cares?
We're not destroying everything.
Just adapt to it, because
destroying everything.
Our ancestors 100 years ago, they enjoyed, the conveniences of whatever their quality of life gave them. And well, who are you to say that they shouldn't have that at the consequence of 6 billion other people having to pay for it?
Well, you're projecting into the future into a situation that may never happen. I mean,
Today's evidence
You're assuming that government policies have that much of an impact on these future generations, but they don't.
Have you been outside the country?
Have I? No.
Okay.
that doesn't persuade anything, dude.
It says a lot because I'm not disrespecting you, but if you go to a third world country that has 20 million people in the city, you will see exactly what the EPA does here in our country versus what the lack of EPA does in another country. I promise you that.
Yeah, I've seen pictures of smog and all of that stuff. Yeah,
you can't go running outside. You can't go for a morning jog. It's the little things that we take for granted that you can't do in these hella populated cities that have no understanding of science, and they're all about religion and a whole bunch of other things, right? And so, like, I lived in Manila. You can't go jogging in Manila. If you do, you're at least outside. You run on a treadmill inside. If you go outside, go jogging in a city of 20 million people that has no environmental protection programs, you're going to get sick.
Yeah, but that's a little bit different. Environmental.
That's common.
No.
Majority of countries are third world countries that don't have any programs. That's not different at all.
But there's a different environmental protection with a different focus. You're changing the rationale now, though. You're not talking about global warming at all. You're talking about within a circle of a geographical location, the health impacts on the people of those because of people that are next to them doing things that aren't healthy.
No, it's a lack of them having any type of regulation that is causing that city's condition.
Yeah. So the thing is, but that's damning to the people in that city, and they can have their own. Why can't they just within that city have their own protection? But for the purposes of making sure their citizens are healthy, not for this the overarching. We're doomed. Global, climate change. We're doomed. The Earth's doomed. We're hurting the Earth.
But we are. That's the argument. You're saying no. So what if we are?
But
you're moving. And it's like, why would you think that?
Of that, but I have clean air right here. You
have clean air.
Yeah. So why do I need to live under the same environmental impact situation as someone who's in a deep city?
Because it's not about you.
But it is about them, apparently. So that you're worried about that one person who can't jog in Manila.
It's not one person. It's systemic, and there's consequences to people's behavior, and that's my point. If there's anything to get out of this conversation, it's not about you, and that's the thing that, like,
in a world where we're all entirely insignificant. That's the only thing I can really care about is me and what I've got here. But what I'm just saying is that there are regional differences among people. There are needs in specific areas, and especially if you put laws and things at the federal level or at the world level, that can really affect people negatively in smaller areas. So you might just be fine if they enact certain environmental controls in Miami because you don't have the same effect. But somebody in, let's say, Michigan or Detroit might totally destroy their economy and just lead to a bunch of people doing drugs and stuff like that.
No. What do you think the consequences are when an area that's full of people becomes inhospitable? What do you think the consequences are?
Well, why did it become inhospitable?
Because of okay, let's talk about Flint, Michigan. All right. Supposedly they don't have good drinking water.
Yep.
Let's say that you are expecting to have a new kid, and your drinking water is bad, and there may be some other issues. If you have options to go to another city like Detroit or like Lansing or like Ann Arbor, as a father, as the head of your household, would you consider leaving if the environment isn't conducive to raising your child and your child being healthy without having to take hella trips to the doctor?
Yeah.
Okay. It's the same thing with political unrest. when an area becomes inhospitable, people pick up and leave.
Yeah.
The consequence of that is when people pick up and leave, they usually end up establishing themselves in areas that are conducive to employment, which means that they may be interfering with the economic pool or economic, I don't know, for lack of a better term, I don't know what the right word is, with the local economy of whatever city that they just moved to. Now you multiply that one person plus their family by, I don't know, 1 million, 5 million, whatever. Now all of a sudden you're inundating another area where people are already established, and now there's going to be conflict because you're messing up what was already good for them. Now they have to adapt because you and everybody that you know are inundating their particular region. And that's what happens. It causes more problems. We see this every day. We do. Turn on the news. Look at the Gaza Strip. Look at the Israeli settlements that are illegal. It's what happens when you have hella people and not that much land to settle. And that's what's going to happen. I won.
No, you didn't. No, but I'm just saying is if the problem is in area X and you're in area Y, and the problem in area X can be fixed with Z, and the Z is implemented at a level that exists over both areas, you might be negatively affecting X who doesn't have that problem. It'd be like saying, like, if you have, let's say, a bug in one of your microservices, and so you write a test there, but now you have to go across 100 other microservices to write that exact same test, just because that one bug here, but that actually isn't the behavior that is exhibited over here. And in fact, if you change it to fix that bug over here, it'll just cause that service to bug in a different way. The thing is if you localize problems and you come up with solutions within those local bubbles, that's a lot better of a solution. I'm more about, I hate the thing about Trump and the federal government is that it's federal. It affects a lot of people across a nation to do things. That's why we have states, and states should be more allowed to kind of pick in their particular areas what solves problems for their best citizens. So, in Minnesota, yeah, we need probably trucks to get around and do things because we have a huge weather impediment many times of the year, or we should just not live here if we can't do that. Well, we've adapted to it. But to say, okay, you cannot have trucks across the nation because somebody in Arizona doesn't need one, that's BS. I mean, it's just BS.
Was it BS for the federal government to increase the fueling or the fuel standards? So instead of trucks guzzling 10 gallons to a mile or 10 miles to the gallon, they're now running at, I don't know, 25 miles a gallon or 30. Was that BS as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. The thing is that would happen anyways because fuel prices, demand is higher. Fuel prices go up. People can't afford it. Then people have to make lower or higher MPG vehicles just to solve that situation. Like I said, I don't think the greenhouse gas thing is solved by emissions. The thing is, we're going to just keep growing and all that. And there's good reasons to have some things that are emission, especially if there's an alternative like planting more freaking trees.
And that's not going to work.
It's going to.
All right.
People are wising up to it. It's going
Amazon rainforest, the Sahara Desert continues to expand like crazy. You can't depend on humans to plant trees because a lot of them they just enjoy their convenience of not being out on the plantation doing that crap.
So instead we're going to focus on vehicle emissions and coal plant emissions that aren't going to affect the problem. And Sierra,
it will affect the problem. Do you understand the difference between nuclear and coal in regards to the amount of waste that gets generated?
People also try to eliminate nuclear, which is stupid. If you want to go green,
I agree.
there should be huge investments in nuclear.
Yeah, and we should be reducing the footprint of coal.
Yeah, fair enough.
We finally agree on something.
Yeah. But there's also probably good uses for coal for things too. Actually, they did in Japan reduce nuclear, and they ended up having to go huge into coal, which is kind of just silly. But I don't know.
That's because they had Fukushima, and so they really didn't have a choice when it came to the what do you call it, outcry.
Yeah, there's new reactors that are getting designed that are going to be like hella safe in terms of ensuring that we don't leak stuff and being more gosh, I don't know what the word, efficient with the materials and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know why the green stuff isn't focusing more on nuclear, because it's just an available option we've got right now. But it's the nuclear waste, man. They want to go 100% renewable. There's even probably effects to that, though. You know how many birds die by hitting these stupid windmills every year?
No.
You don't think that affects the environment? When birds die because of fucking windmills?
It depends on how many.
Yeah.
If they're pigeons, then yeah, I don't care about pigeons.
Oh, well, you don't care about pigeons, but those are a vital ecosystem.
But if they're like blue jays or red robins, then yeah, I would care.
They keep your city streets clean, man. Those pigeons.
They're annoying. I just want to feed all of them Alka-Seltzer.
So anyway, so I shouldn't learn F#. Is that the answer to this?
Is that a sincere question?
Yeah, well, actually, I went down that road before we started going. I was saying about how I want to make a career move.
Career move is, when you say career move,
that we got onto bounty hunters.
That made me think that you don't want to program. So I was like, be a bounty hunter.
Yeah, well, maybe it's just I don't want to keep programming down the same track that I am right now.
Have you considered firmware?
No, I don't like having to deal with the physical limitations of those kinds of things. I mean, I could, but it's I don't know, a lot of testing and what I want to do is really, I think the best situation for me would be to work in a like a high growth startup type thing, early phase. I don't know. I hate corporate culture.
Yeah, I do too.
I hate
it. I'm fighting it. I hate when there's 12 people in the room and 11 of them have never actually built software themselves, but they're project planning. Like, yeah. I hate that. I hate when they delegate me tasks to do, but you've never built or delivered software ever.
Yeah,
somehow you're in a position to tell me what I need to work on, and you're dictating the tasks I work on, and you've never built software.
It's like academics trying to tell us we can't have trucks. So
no, but I feel your pain. Like, I'm so unattracted to corporate. Like, I mean, my phone rings and they're like, hey, this blah 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 is on site. You know, I can't work 9 to 5. Like, my work hours are usually like 6 to 3 or 7 to 4. Like, I can't sit in a cubicle, or I can't even sit in an open space. I can't. I'm a people person when I respect people. All right, but yeah.
But yeah, the whole corporate, I don't know. There's been things recently that I've had, like, I really have to kind of compromise on the quality of this system as a whole, not within the code that I write, but knowing that this won't work because I don't have the capability to get other teams to work on particular aspects to make the whole thing work right. So I've got to just shove in compromise. And I'm saying compromise more in like the terms of it's just there's going to be issues for the end user, and I just don't like that. I want to focus on just delivering value overall and getting things right, and it's really difficult to do that when you've got a larger organization that needs to get everyone on the same page, many teams across many people. It's ugly. But I don't know.
The answer to that is microservices, right?
No, that's the problem is with it, is that once you spread it across teams, people are like, well, yeah, I need that microservice to do this. Well, sorry, I don't have. That's not my priority because I have this other priority but your priorities don't change, so you still need to figure out how to deal with the fact that thing can't give you what it needs. It's awful. But I don't know, too, just the whole layering of management and politics within businesses, and
you need to be in the startup.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is, man, if I could just constantly deliver directly to a product owner that's paying me, and be like, we need this by next week because whatever. You know what? I'll sit down and hammer that shit out. But once you get into as soon as somebody says we need to mature, then I'm like, fuck it. I don't. Nope. I don't know. Maybe I just like cowboy programming too much. Maybe, I don't know. That could be it. But
have you read the book? Have you read the book Accelerate?
No.
You're familiar with? I think I'm getting early stages of dementia. I can't remember everything anymore. I can't remember his name. Well, Accelerate was written by a lady. I thought her name was like Jennifer Foster or something. I can't. She was mad at me on Twitter one time because I spoke up about her man hating. Let me see. Accelerate is
lean software and DevOps.
Yeah. It basically is a book that talks about the difference between high performing organizations and everybody else. And I was trying to say Jez Humble, but yeah, Nicole Forsgren, whatever her name is.
Forsgren.
Yeah.
And Gene Kim.
So, yeah. I mean, the book is interesting. You may not agree with it based on this conversation, but they have some interesting points. It sounds like you don't work in a high performing organization.
Well, I might. I don't know. I don't know. I think my brain's wired differently than people. I just getting into documenting things or waiting or feeling like there's like pragmatism doesn't give way to doesn't take precedence over other things.
I used to hate. The last time I was asked to do it was probably like 4 years ago. I used to hate drawing sequence diagrams, and it's like, this is so stupid. Like, why can't I just why is this necessary? Like, this, there's no value in this at all, right? And I mean, I don't know how you feel about like UML and all the different forms of UML, but based on what you were saying, I feel like some stuff, no one's going to look at it. Everybody's going to know the at a high level what's required in order for a feature to work. That's why it's called a feature. And I just don't do well at companies like that need to detail things that aren't really worth explaining because the feature is self-descriptive.
Yeah, I mean, if you're trying to, like those diagrams and stuff, if you're trying to communicate something, it's drawing a picture. It can be helpful, right? But to do it for any other reason than just to help communicate, but to even need to communicate it is sometimes dumb because it's only really valuable to technical people if you're trying to communicate a technical design to someone. My
argument is, why why go through the effort of drawing a sequence diagram and detailing and having to know about all the different servers and the names of those servers, right? And the security aspects of it. Like, why can't you just write a suite of integration tests that describe the same steps and explains the same setup in order for that operation to succeed?
Yeah, again, it's drawing
That,
a picture,
at
man.
least that's compilable. It is living documentation. Again, that compiles. Why do you have me drawing these pictures in Visio or UML and like no one cares but the retarded architect? It's only for the architect. And if it's for the architect, why am I doing it? Why aren't you doing it? Because you're the one that cares about this. You're going to be the only person that looks at this. Why am I doing your job?
Yeah, I've been in those situations too, and yeah, no, that's the wrong use. It's more like if you were trying to describe to me the interactions between the different services that you have, and you're trying to do it to get me up to speed on something, like a sequence diagram might be helpful because it's a communication thing. But beyond that, it's immediately out of date as soon as you change anything. And then two, it's not useful for any other thing. So, but yeah, I don't know. I just, yeah. I mean, the organizations haven't been too awful. They're not bad to work for. I haven't really been in a truly bad organization at all. I just want, I don't know. I just want to go in and feel like I don't have to compromise and can just put out the best work I can think of and come up with creative solutions to things that solve problems and be able to pivot immediately when priorities change. I'll give you an example. There's a service that we've been putting in to kind of solve a problem, but it's essentially been a giant bug fix because the model was done incorrectly to start. So a bunch of people in a room came up and said, we're going to do this, but didn't account for X, Y, and Z basically. And so we're trying to kind of retroactively fix it. Well, out of that, there's this other need that they found that the customers have been asking for, and they have it on our board to do in the future. I'm like, look, 3 days of development, we don't really have anything high priority. I could get this done. I could add this feature, and it'd be valuable to the customers that are beholden to. But it's so worried about scope creep versus the pragmatic of it that if you just what would drop off the end, fixing really, really low priority bugs about UI stuff. Like that's what we could exchange this for. No one wants to even have the conversation because it seems like huge scope creep. So it's like that kind of stuff just bothers me. It's like do the thing anyway. So I still prototyped it anyways, and I'm trying to get it pushed through because I want to feel like I delivered something valuable out of this whole mess that I'm in right now. And I feel like this is something that customers want and would be valuable to them. And if I could deliver it, then I won't feel so bad about not delivering much value and just fixing crap for 3 months. So, yeah.
You're still doing C#.
Yeah, that's the thing too. I don't know, it's so verbose to try to write. Like I still getting into trying to make domain models that are unbreakable, and I can see so much value in it. Like you write this once and poof, it's done. But then I run into things like, for instance, we have the two data types that are the same, but in context, there's one that's kind of like this is the established one, and this is what we're moving towards. And I don't have a type to represent those two. So I had a bug where I accidentally passed the wrong one in. Even though I've subtyped it down to other things. Like in F# it'd be so easy to be like, nope, this is the established one, this is the target one, boom. Give it a name. Now it's strongly typed and I won't mess it up. I see that.
I would be cautious to say creating a model that's unbreakable.
Well, not unbreakable, but there's, You
could, and then you spend a lot of time maintaining it.
Yeah. Well, just passing those values around incorrectly.
Because, that was the mistake that I made with the customer app. is I had just finished reading Domain Modeling Made Functional, and I just went ham, like just making everything like unbreakable. And I ended up writing so many functions to extract data because of the model that I had, right?
Yep.
Because that model was so secure.
Give me 1 second here. I'm not working today. I took it off, but I want to say goodbye before my daughter gets on the bus because I've got
All right.
I'm going ice fishing this weekend and I won't be around, so I want to say goodbye to her because I won't see her.
Just make sure you guys ride bicycles and don't drive a truck. So.
Dude, I'm driving gas guzzling snowmobile today.
You on a snowmobile?
Yeah, I got a couple of them.
Oh wow!
I don't use them very much. They were my brother-in-law's, and then he ended up passing away. So I asked my sister if I could borrow them, and she basically just gave them to me. So
cool.
But, yeah.
All right, Sean, it's been real.
All right. Yep.
I'm not mad at you. It's okay.
No, it's all good. I'm not mad either. Heated debates, good. Too many people just mistake disagreements for like hate and like you have to agree with me. No, we can disagree.
Yeah.
At least the conversation's being had, right? That's how you change minds.
Yeah. So, all right, it's been real.
Yep. See you. Bye.